And welcome into Bradenton, Florida for our third day of the IMG Suncoast Pro Classic. Ryan Sudol and Lee Godfrey getting ready to bring you a clash amongst MLS and USL sides. The Chicago Fire taking on FC Cincinnati. And Lee, the field has taken a lot of water today, so what we would refer to normally as a slick pitch, but these teams have some new geared up rosters for this match, and we are ready to go in just a few minutes.
Yeah, it should be a good one. You know, the Chicago Fire have had an outstanding preseason so far in 2017, really trying to turn things around from the 2016 season where they were the worst team in Major League Soccer, and they brought in some new players, some big names coming to the Fire this season with a real mix of some young ones, too. They have 5 homegrown and they are going to have to drop one of those, Ryan, because you can only have 4 homegrowns on an MLS roster, to my knowledge. But bringing in players like Dax McCarty, who was the captain of the New York Red Bulls, in a shocking move. Dax McCarty was surprised that the move was made, but he's starting to fill in and fit into Chicago quite well. Juninho, who of course contributed so much to the LA Galaxy's success over the years, playing alongside him now. And so a lot of people are really considering that this could be a dark horse team in Major League Soccer this season. And you know, and why wouldn't they? When you do think of that East, who's going to be back and who's going to be good? You know that Toronto FC is going to be in the same boat, trying to get to MLS Cup again, Montreal as well. But then I think other than that, it's pretty wide open for some teams. That's the way the league operates, that you can change things around so fast in MLS.
And FC Cincinnati will look to bounce back from their Sunday misstep against rival Oklahoma City Energy. 2 goals coming off the feet of Daryl Fordyce, as well as Austin Berry in the 89th minute. Chicago Fire going to look to continue their momentum after their 5-2 win over the North American Soccer League's Miami FC. We will step aside briefly and have starting lineups for you in just a moment. You are watching the 2017 Suncoast Pro Classic presented by Stream Sports.
So, you want to be the best? So does everybody else. See, it takes more than wanting it. You got to show up. And when you show up and camp here, you'll be ready to compete anywhere.
And welcome back. IMG Academy Field in Bradenton, Florida, getting ready for kickoff between FC Cincinnati of the USL and Chicago Fire of Major League Soccer. Starters for the Chicago Fire tonight. In goal will be number 1, Jorge Bava. Again, not their normal roster numbers that they will have, just here for the preseason. From left to right on the back line, number 5, Michael Harrington. Number 4, Johan Kappelhoff. Number 16, Jonathan Campbell. And number 2, Brandon Vincent as that right back. Up in the midfield, John Goosens, number 14. And then Dax McCarty and Juninho in the middle as those holding midfielders. David Acom out wide right. And Louis Solignac wearing number 12 in the middle, and right in front of him, number 9, Nemanja Nikolic. He was a linchpin for this Chicago on Sunday evening. And Lee, with FC Cincinnati, some similar names and also some new names in the starting 11.
Yeah, a couple of changes from that starting 11 that we did see on Sunday against Oklahoma Energy. Mitch Hildebrandt, the defending goalkeeper of the year in the United Soccer League, is getting the start in goal. And then on the back line from left to right, Boehner, Austin Berry, the former member of the Chicago Fire, Delbridge, Polak, Quinn playing in that sweeper position. And then in the midfield, you have McLaughlin, Daryl Fordyce, who found the back of the net on Sunday. Andrew Wiedemann, who was a substitute on Sunday, comes in a starting role. Decree, and then up top is the man on loan from the Seattle Sounders, Victor Mansoret, playing up top for FC Cincinnati.
And we will step aside briefly for the playing of the national anthem, and then we will also tell you how you can interact with us and the broadcast. Myself, at Sud Sanity on Twitter. My broadcast partner, Lee Godfrey, at Levon Godfrey. For Fire fans, use the hashtag CF97. For FC Cincinnati fans, their hashtag this season, Rise Together. We will be checking that periodically, answering any questions you may have as we step aside for the Star Spangled Banner. Stiff a wind as we saw on Sunday. FC Cincinnati will be wearing their traditional blue and orange with the white stripe across the chest, and they will go left to right, attacking from the northern goal to the southern goal. Already talked about the formations, Lee, and this was a Chicago Fire team that was split up a little bit on Sunday, and now a lot of Chicago Fire fans, one of the big questions that was going to be on their mind is how is Dax McCarty and Janino going to fit in the same midfield, just minutes away from seeing how that will work out. And for FC Cincinnati, again, had some success controlling the ball against Oklahoma City Energy. Just a couple of back passes and miscommunications between some of their midfielders and defenders that led to some goals against Oklahoma City. And then obviously with Vucic coming in and just kind of putting that brace on and putting FC Cincinnati away. Still had some good flashes, but a little bit of a tougher opponent today in the Chicago Fire.
Yeah, absolutely a tougher opponent. And I thought the scoreline was a little unkind to Cincinnati in that first game because they did really control that first half, and they had the energy on their back foot. Energy defended very well, and it really kept Cincinnati to the outside, didn't allow them to create very many opportunities. They were unlucky with hitting a crossbar, missing an open net at one point in time. So they would be unhappy that they didn't finish on a couple of their opportunities. So this is the next big test, and they're, making a couple changes in that starting 11. Chicago, when we talk to the people within the club, that they think that really almost this entire starting 11 has been solidified for match day one in Major League Soccer. There might be one position out there that might be battled for, but that is good news for fans of the Chicago Fire to know that there's going to be some consistency right off the get-go in your starting 11 moving forward, trying to put away last season and have a new start.
FC Cincinnati looking for that deep long ball early on. Goes out intended for Jimmy McLaughlin, and FC Cincinnati will again try to create from the back. Those of you that may have missed the doubleheader of games on Sunday, VAR will be instituted today as well. So any potential penalty kicks, straight red cards, goals, or mistaken identity cases in bookings will be subject to review from the VAR. Again, Chicago was part of one of the, not necessarily an instrumental call, but a foul that occurred in the box off the ball was then awarded a penalty to Miami late in that game on Sunday evening, and there didn't seem to be any protest from any of the players. So a nice first run on Sunday. McLaughlin looking for that cross in. Good tackle by Chicago. Looking for the counter on the break. Akam, very dangerous, looking down that left wing side. Drop back up for Janino. Looking towards the top of the 18, skips it in through the box, looking for Solignac, or Akam, instead taken back by Cincinnati, looking for Monserrat.
And that was Austin Berry there for Cincinnati, breaking that play up, Ryan. He's going to be wanting to have a good performance today. Of course, he started his career as a member of the Fire and has spent a couple of seasons there and kind of fizzled out a little bit and ended up getting a transfer to the Philadelphia Union. Didn't really fit in there whatsoever, and made a move over to Asia before coming back and getting an opportunity here with FC Cincinnati.
And talk about the age of Victor Monserrat at 19, a little bit of a youth movement that we've seen at IMG. Last night for St. Louis FC, seeing Mateo Kidd, a high school senior, scoring a goal, and Chicago Fire fans will get an opportunity to see another 18-year-old in Georgi Mihailovic. He will be coming in for that second 45, so a lot of youth movement here when a lot of teams, especially in MLS, take a lot of flack for having some older rosters. It's good to see some youth infused to a lot of these clubs.
Yeah, when you can find that balance, that's a key as far as if you lose a couple of players. And Cincinnati is a team that has lost their leading goal scorer for last year, so they're going to be looking for a couple of their new signings to be able to come in and try to replicate that so they can continue with their success after finishing third in USL last year. They're going to want to keep that going.
Akam jumps over, and that is Brandon Vincent down the left side trying to get the cross through the box. Goal-saving header as that tracks out for a throw. Brandon Vincent will have the throw-in, has a couple of options on his near side. Goes for Janino, and back for Dax McCarty. McCarty gets taken down, and our first free kick from Chicago Fire's attacking half. Opportunity maybe at an early set piece. Dax trying to see if maybe he has a quick pass on a quick restart. Instead, they will set the wall and try to set this up.
And that's Canadian referee today, Silviu Petrescu. We had a good conversation with him yesterday, Ryan, about VAR and the benefits of it. And it is really cool to see the referees embrace the technology as well, to know that everyone is valuable, people make mistakes, and that you're not going to see everything There's only 3-4 cameras at the tournament here. He said it's going to be unbelievable during some of the regular season matches where you have upwards of 10 cameras, all in high definition, that they're just not going to miss anything. It's going to be such a benefit, and he thinks that the turnaround is going to be very quick as far as getting those decisions or those looks through to the official, because in the end, the last call, it stands is with the official on the field will make the final call on a certain play.
And I think the favorite thing that Petrescu said to us yesterday that I'm sure every soccer fan would love to hear with regard to the American referees, he said, "We're not perfect." So
absolutely, and they shouldn't pretend to be either, because that is the human element of the sport, and there's some great parts to it, and there's going to be some mistakes too. But with the technology existing today, as that one goes offside, that use it to the benefit. And I think in the past it hasn't been there. It has not been good enough to be able to implement into the game without it really hurting the flow of it. And now you've seen before 4 or 5 replays on a goal that may have counted or shouldn't have counted an offside before they even kick off for that goal. You've seen 5, 6, 7 angles of it. So that's how quick the turnaround is. And so be able to use that technology here as a platform to see how it's going to pan out is fantastic.
Cincinnati back into the box. Daryl Fordyce, one of the goal scorers from Sunday afternoon, cleared away by Brandon Vincent of Chicago. And Fire fans, there will be a completely new set of 11 players for the second half. We'll already have those rosters, as is normal for typical preseason play. Cincinnati anticipating probably going to keep a good majority of their players, might sub in a few, but definitely going to be fresh legs for Chicago's team. Dakers trying to get by Brandon Vincent and just bounces off his knee and hits it slightly. Back out for a Fire throw.
Yeah, Chicago wanting to get all their players a little bit of time today at IMG Academy with their final match in Florida preseason happening Saturday against the finalists, the runners-up of MLS Cup in last season, Toronto FC, a big game up at Allang Stadium in St. Petersburg.
Akam into the box and just out for a goal kick. That is not a beneficial matchup for Tyler Polak of FC Cincinnati. Akam, one of the more electric players in Major League Soccer. And Brandon Vincent did a good job to keep him at bay and force that cross that went just wide of the post. And again, out for a Cincinnati goal kick. Now pressure coming from Chicago. We saw a similar stretch by Ottawa last night, also playing here against some familiar USL competition. Eighth minute, we are at IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida, one of the elite training facilities in the entire world. People from all walks of life and all types of international sports come in here: tennis, golf, track and field, soccer, basketball, football, and the facilities just continue to grow. There's the throw for Chicago. Back up for Jonathan Campbell. Vincent back to Janino. Good first touch by Kapilov. Akam with that give and go down that far side, taken away. And that is Tyler Polak. Now Dax McCarty knocks that one off of Polak and will stay with Chicago on the throw.
Janino with a touch there. I don't think I can say how important he is going to be to the Chicago Fire this year. He was almost under the radar, a little bit underrated, I would say, Ryan, in Los Angeles, just because of all the power that they had with David Beckham, with Robbie Keane. Janino was a big part of that mix and such a good playmaker out there. He can make some good runs. He's great with the ball at his feet, and he can score goals as well, good off his set pieces. So he just brings so much more to this midfield of the Chicago Fire, something that was truly really needed. And to complement that with Dax McCarty, who's now back into the national team fold, playing for the United States of America in the recent friendlies, Bruce Arena, calling him back after a long absence with the team.
Now Dakers with the takeaway opportunity. Monserrat, top of the 18-yard box, tries to line up a shot. And off for a deflection and out for our first corner kick of the day.
A good start so far in the first 10 minutes, I would say, Ryan, for FC Cincinnati. Certainly don't look out of place out here. They do have some depth players, some good players that have been around the league. We talked about Andrew Wiedemann, who spent quite a bit of time in Major League Soccer. I covered him when he was a member of Toronto FC down here in Florida, and as well up in Toronto. And he's one of those players that has fit in very nicely, always scoring, you know, that 5, 6, 7, 8 goals a season, but it's his setup as well that he's a good playmaker, can really run the midfield for this FC Cincinnati side.
Chicago there, a nice cross in by Jimmy McLaughlin. Austin Berry had an opportunity to put it on frame, instead just misses and set up that last fire goal kick. Cincinnati also one of those teams hoping to be in the MLS fold in the coming years for the expansion teams 24 through 28. A big push on Twitter with hashtag MLS to Cincy. Again, one we're familiar with as far as MLS to St. Pete. A lot of teams right now, 12 cities, had officially submitted bids this year to be a part of Major League Soccer. And again, a lot of communities. Cincinnati, one of those communities you would expect to be right there in the front for consideration for Major League Soccer, just the way that the community has really rallied around. Their only issue right now would be getting a soccer-specific stadium not named Nippert. Now into the box for Cincinnati, lining up a shot, and it's a goal for Cincinnati! Aiden Quinn, and they are going to say there was an offside, and the whistle waited. So this is going to be an interesting situation, Lee, because the whistle did not blow until after the goal. So we have not yet been signaled for a video review. Otherwise, it's Aiden Quinn with the goal. Again, the offside. This is one of those situations we had asked Petrescu about, as far as if a goal goes in and the whistle isn't blown, can it still count? And the whistle did not blow until after the goal had already gone through. But as of yet, I don't know, Lee, that one looked like a good goal from Cincinnati for me.
Yeah, well, Quinn certainly wasn't offside, and the only question is, was there someone in the view of Jorge Bava and blocking him and in that play? Because certainly you're allowed to have players in an offside position if they weren't interfering with that shot on goal. And I didn't see anything interfering with Bava. He didn't put up a complaint either. He just thought that he was beat straight out and that this would be 1-0 FC Cincinnati. So a tough break early on, but like we said, I've been impressed so far in this first 10 minutes of play, and maybe that will be a wake-up call for the Chicago Fire team.
As Janino gets the ball just outside the midfield circle. Out wide. Trying to switch the play back up. It's Jonathan Campbell bringing it up for Chicago. Through looking for a com. Takeaway in Dakers, we've seen, can be dangerous in space. Monserrat on the 1v1 has Dakers again. One to beat, it's Dax. Not an easy midfielder to beat, and that will stay with Chicago. And we talked on Sunday night about Dax McCarty and just the shocking move for the captain for the New York Red Bulls. Again, obviously with some of the way the player transactions go in Major League Soccer, he wasn't too pleased with the way it went down, but from his early going so far in Chicago, seems to be like one of those guys that's going to be a necessary vocal leader. And you know, a lot of the members of the front office also happy to have someone that's able to be critical when need be.
Yeah, and he is one of those professional players. His work ethic is second to none. He's such an engine in that midfield. He can run box to box. He can run left to right, as we've seen him on the left side of the pitch, the right side today, all over the place, and trying to get involved offensively as well when he does want to go forward. And I'm sure he does have that green light at times too if he sees that opportunity. And like they said, you know, maybe New York didn't want him. Well, you know what? His compliment to that was, I'm wanted in Chicago. So that's a big thing to be a part of this rebuild in the city.
Taken back away by Aiden Quinn. Pollock sends it forward. Akam gets a foot to it. Allows that Chicago Fire midfield to reset. Be a throw-in for Cincinnati. Something we also saw last night, Lee, that we're not too accustomed to. We saw 3 30-minute periods due to some of the depleted USL rosters, and still have a month to sign some players and get some trialists in back home, but very non-traditional setup that we saw last night between the Ottawa Fury and St. Louis FC. But also a very exciting game. We've had plenty of goals to be scored at IMG. We'll also be back again tomorrow night. That game at 6 o'clock right here from IMG Academy Field.
Again, Cincinnati doing a good job here of the ball, Ryan. They're keeping their shape. They're playing a bit of a high line, and they are pushing the Fire back here early after we've played 15 minutes of play, and they have done a very good job so far.
And now Nemanja Nikolic, instrumental on Sunday in that victory, trying to get by one. Pressure coming, set up. Now back to Vincent.
Barry there.
Vincent tries to line one up and sneak it into that top corner past Hildebrandt. Instead, out for a goal kick.
Well, Vincent let one go there and let Austin Berry off the hook, because that was just a horrible pass from Austin Berry right to the top of the 18, and a good scoring opportunity for the Chicago Fire.
Now Cincinnati, again, sitting back from their heels, now try to send it forward. Tries to get that first touch pass to Montserrat. And Dax McCarty just settles it back for his teammate Johan Kappelhoff. th minute of play, 0-0 after a controversial offside call. And that's going to be one that I'm sure everybody back in Queen City is going to take a look at and wonder where the offside was. Apparently the VAR did not see a need, so and there to keep the referees honest, and has worked so far in this preseason. Now Kadeem Dakers down the near side with wheels. He is taken down, and that is an easy foul. Jonathan Campbell gets the shove on number 7 for Cincinnati.
Good movement up that left flank by FC Cincinnati. Nice little 1-2 passing to send Dakers up that right flank. And he had a step on the Chicago Fire there, and he had to be taken down. So a free kick opportunity in the 18th minute of play for FC Cincinnati.
It is Aiden Quinn standing over the ball.
The would-be goal scorer, so he's going to whip one in once again.
Looking to curl towards the far post, gets to one head, and Cincinnati players and some of the fans in the stands wanting a handball. And we did see one called against Chicago, or against Miami the other night, that led to a John Goosens penalty kick opportunity that he capitalized on. But that is a play where VAR can come back and say, yes, indeed, there was a handball in the box. Down that far left wing, Montserrat up for Pollock, looking for a cross in, trying to find Wiedemann, taken back by Chicago and cleared out towards midfield, and Solignac. Solignac with some great dribbling, has Akam in space. Tries to get by one. Akam wants a foul, and the center official says not happening, and Nice slide tackle, Vincent there. Pressure still coming from Cincinnati. Finally sent out. They'll say that went off of Vincent, so it'll be an FC Cincinnati throw deep in their attacking half.
Good tackle there by Boehner, just on Cincinnati's side of their half defensively, because Chicago had players coming in numbers on the counterattack there. If that wasn't broken up, that would have been a good opportunity for the Fire.
Boehner just waits a step too late to try and cross that through the 18-yard box, and out for a Chicago throw. Looking deep for Solignac. Headed out safely by Harrison Delbridge. Kept in. Nice pass by Wiedemann. Miscommunication with Daryl Fordyce. Goes back to the Chicago defense. And they will have an opportunity to reset and try to create from the back. 0-0, 20th minute of play. Looking for Goosens through the middle, instead taken back away by Aiden Quinn. Seen some good controlled soccer from both teams. Might even give a slight advantage to Cincinnati. Daker's fighting for it. Back to Baba.
Yeah, I would right now, Brian, absolutely.
Advantage being played as Akam goes down. Nikolic across the middle, back, finds Janino. Janino fakes the long shot, and that one goes over the hands, and what a save by the keeper, Mitch Hildebrandt. We saw Janino line some up on Sunday night from distance, and that one on target, and what a double save there by Mitch Hildebrandt. Wow.
Oh, it was a good strike by Janino. He had the space, and he kept coming in, and he took the shot, and I thought maybe Hildebrandt should have handled it a little better, so he actually had to save himself from making that mistake. He got a hand on it, and he had to run over and punch that one away before it found the back of the net, or before someone else on Chicago was able to get on the end of it and be able to pop that in. So Mitch Hildebrandt on the double save there from Janino.
And now the corner kick for the Chicago Fire. It is Goosens standing over the ball from this Welcome back to IMG Academy Field. Ryan Sudol and Lee Godfrey getting ready to bring you second half action in this 2017 Suncoast Pro Classic matchup between FC Cincinnati, who find themselves down 1-0 against the Chicago Fire. Wholesale changes for the Fire, Lee. We mentioned them. In goal will be Stefan Cleveland, and then their back line will be Chad Barson, Joe Almira, Mate Dejkovic, and Patrick Duty. Midfielders Drew Connor and the youngster Georgi Mihailovic. Also Arturo Alvarez, Michael DeLayu, Daniel Johnson, and up top David Arshaki. And looks like it for Cincinnati, though. They're going to run with their same 11 for the second half.
Yeah, very interesting as the different coaching philosophies in preseason and what he feels they need to get ready for the beginning of the year. So, obviously, Alan Koch saying, you know what, I'm going to try to possibly get my guys up to 60 minutes of first-team experience and get out there and get up to that point where he knows that he has those guys up to that certain level of fitness preparing for that season, whereas the Chicago Fire have to get ready a little quicker. And so they still have people that they're looking at, and they want to get in as much time as they can. This is their second last game down in Florida. They play Toronto FC on a Saturday up at Al Lang Stadium to conclude their Florida preseason, and that will be a big game for them going up against MLS competition, and very good MLS competition at that, when you're facing the likes of Giovinco and U.S. national team members Michael Bradley and Jose Altidore.
And now the Fire break their little pre-half huddle. We'll have to wait to see what we've got as far as, looks like one player wearing a number 26. I believe that might be either Matt Polster or Patrick Duty, just based on the rosters that we have been given. Again, for preseason, it is also preseason for the operations people as well. As we await the opening kickoff, it is Michael DeLayu standing over the ball. Arturo Alvarez, keep an eye on him on that right wing. Also had an incredible goal on Sunday night just outside the 18. As the Fire now going left to right on your screen. That one off the chest of DeLayu. And out for our first corner kick of the second half. It will be Alvarez lining up. Alvarez with the in-swinger. Wind picking up a little bit near post and almost sneaks through. And what a clearance by FC Cincinnati. Looking like a sure thing on that far post, and somehow stays out of the back of the net.
And that one almost went straight in. Arturo Alvarez almost scored right off that as it goes through everybody. A low-driven ball, and that one almost snuck in the back post.
Alvarez lining up a similar shot to Sunday evening. Again, knocked away. Fire still dominating possession so far in this first 90 seconds of the second half. I believe that might be Chad Barson wearing number 26 for the Chicago Fire. And now back to the keeper, Cleveland. Cleveland had a great penalty kick save on that VAR penalty that we had talked about earlier, Lee. Stopping the initial kick from Miami FC's Ariel Martinez, but unfortunately unable to get the second touch. Now Alvarez fighting for the ball with Jimmy McLaughlin, and Alvarez stays down. McLaughlin whistled for the foul. Ball looking for DeLayu. Being fought for by Patrick Duty. Down that far left wing, Daniel Johnson fighting for position. And just missing Mihailovic inside the 18-yard box. You can see both Daniel Johnson and Georgi Mihailovic a little more slender. Definitely not having any size advantage on any of the players for FC Cincinnati. But we saw last night with the youngster for St. Louis FC, who was, a twig compared to some of these guys, was still able to muscle past some NASL veterans and score a goal.
Yeah, he had a ton of pace, and sometimes it's not all about how big you are, but he had a good little soccer mind on him, had some wheels, good vision, and I was surprised to think that he was the one that stood out the most on St. Louis.
Now fighting Arshakian. Also had a nice sitter on Sunday evening after a rebound from a Janino strike from about 25 or 30 yards. A lot of people thought Arshakian might have been offside. Instead, he just sat right in front of the face of goal and put it back in to extend the Fire lead.
Now, he's a big body up there, isn't he, Ryan? He's going to be tough to for a lot of center backs around the league, depending on how much he's able to get in.
Now Dakers, and then headed back out. Chance and Cleveland able to smother that one just in front of the near post and away from Montserrat. So game remains 1-0. Great turn by Daniel Johnson. Now up for DeLayu. Looking for Arshakian into the 18-yard box. Fighting for possession. FC Cincinnati touches it up out of play, and a throw-in for Chicago. And even though they've got the fresh legs, FC Cincinnati has been able to keep the Chicago Fire at bay so far, and now a takedown, and the center official, knowing that this is a slick pitch, is going to instruct Arshakian to get up and not give Chicago Fire a 20-yard opportunity.
Yeah, it certainly looked like the arms are wrapped around Arshakian, and he's a little bit upset. He looks back at the referee and wonder why that wasn't a free kick just outside the box.
Now to Barson, former member of the Columbus Crew, and one of the Fire's big rivals in Major League Soccer in that Eastern Conference.
Yeah, he came through the academy of the Columbus Crew, did Chad Barson, but didn't really see much action. Less than 10 appearances over 2 seasons with the Crew, so he's moving on and looking for an opportunity to break in to the lineup at right back for the Chicago Fire.
Now looking for Kadeem Dakers down that right wing. Has some space, unable to get his foot to it. Will be a throw-in for Chicago. Now a foul just on the Fire side of midfield. And now instructing Arshakian, saying that he was wrapping his hands backwards around the Cincinnati player. And it is in fact the Fire whistled for the foul. Free kick opportunity for Cincinnati. And still marching out their starting 11 from the first half. Now looking wide. And is Jimmy McLaughlin. Tries to cross in, looking for Montserrat, and just misses Montserrat's head as well as Cleveland's hands. And Chicago Fire lucky to still be up 1-0 in the 53rd minute.
Yeah, I can't believe no one was able to get on the end of that one. Cleveland coming out and trying to get his fists on it. He misses altogether, but a beautiful ball in by McLaughlin, and unlucky Montserrat was not able to get on the end of that one.
I want to thank you guys for spending your Wednesday afternoon with us. We'll have another game tomorrow night at 6 p.m. for you USL fans. Will be beneficial. An Eastern Conference foe and a Western Conference foe in the Ottawa Fury, who we saw yesterday, and Oklahoma City Energy FC. Again, 6 o'clock right here at the IMG Academy Field Stadium, Lee. And then our final game will be, I believe, Tuesday morning at 11:30 a.m. to watch OKC Energy take on Orlando City B. Game that I'm sure the Orlando City fans will not mind a couple of Tampa Bay Rowdies guys calling. And now lining up a shot from distance, one of the first touches by Mihailovic. Alvarez tries to flick it by and get around in the box. And Georgi Mihailovic, a Chicago Fire Academy product. The last time I called a game involving him, I believe he was only 14 years old, about 300 yards to the south on some of the training fields for the USL Super 20s. And it's definitely grown quite a bit in those last 4 years, and great to see him playing with some first-team players for Chicago Fire. And have to thank all of our sponsors that allow us to broadcast this here at IMG Academy. Under Armour, Modus, Gatorade, as well as our presenting sponsor, Stream Sports. Always put on a great production. You know, there's some other preseasons going on, not only in this area, also up in the Carolinas as well as Arizona. MLS and USL and NASL teams all getting ready for their respective seasons. Major League Soccer just about 2 weeks away. And USL still has another month, as well as the North American Soccer League.
Good ball out wide there. Arturo Alvarez is having a couple of bad touches. He's not really gotten into his game probably the way that he wanted to. He's getting the ball at his feet, but he's missing a couple little flicks in the offensive box, and you know, he's just giving away some balls. There's another one right there that he's giving to the other team. He's forcing it a little too much, I think, right now.
Now Arshakian takes it back, able to keep the ball at his feet. Again, one of the biggest targets on the pitch is David Arshakian. Now into the box, opportunity for Chicago. A little bit of contact on the legs of Daniel Johnson, and might have been able to take a fall on one of those kicks and draw a penalty. Instead, it will stay with the Fire for the throw-in.
Well, just over 10 minutes past now in this second half, Ryan, and FC Cincinnati still doing a good job there. I think it's more on counterattack opportunities than anything else. As Mitch Hildebrandt is able to get that one no problem, and we're seeing the Fire putting their imprint more and more on this game. I don't know if they would like to see that scoreline a little bit higher right now and create some more opportunities. But when you're changing wholesale changes at the half, it's going to take a little bit for this group of players to get into this match.
Possession being traded over headers. Alvarez now finds Mihailovic and up to Arshakian. Back out to Daniel Johnson. Mihailovic with a nice little flick to keep number 19, Daniel Johnson, moving. Fire looking for space through the midfield. It's Drew Connor bringing it up. Back out to Barson. Alvarez trying to fire forward, looking for Arshakian, and as that one hangs up, stays in the 18-yard box, and Mitch Hildebrandt will just track that down and opt to throw it back towards the near side, and Harrison Delbridge. Now Polak, FC Cincinnati have not generated a whole lot of offense so far in this first 10 or so minutes of the second half. And now McLaughlin looking for Kadeem Dakers, headed back, and Mihailovic, nice controlled pass, and the second effort by Daniel Johnson trying to find Arshakian, taken back away by FC Cincinnati. Now looking for Wiedemann. Misses his head, able to keep it in. Marked by Barson. Back out for Polak. Tries to get the chip through. Alvarez, no problem, looking for a handball, and it was, in fact, drawn. Mihailovic tried to pop that up and over Polak and Wiedemann instead. Easy handball call for the center official. Dangerous pass back for Cleveland. Able to control the bounce and volley that forward, and that knocks off of DeLayu, but it will stay. They'll say it went off of Delbridge. Little miscommunication between Arturo Alvarez and Chad Barson, but a quick thumbs up from both of them to signify that they were both on the same page, and it'll be there again.
As I looked at the sidelines too, Ryan, it does appear that there's probably going to be some pretty big changes for FC Cincinnati shortly. They're having a talk to on the sidelines, and we're going to see some changes here and another group for Cincinnati to be able to come in and see what they can do in this preseason match.
Beautiful cross by Duty intended for Arshakian, but a game-saving header by Austin Berry, who has been fantastic on that back line for Cincinnati so far. Throw in for Cincinnati. Anticipate the 60-minute mark will be about the time that those mass substitutions. We'll do our best to track them with you. I also recommend probably following FC Cincinnati's Twitter as well, at FC Cincinnati. Pressure coming again. Alvarez with a rough touch, and unable to track it down was Drew Connor. Now Mihailovic with the takeaway. Actually, that was in fact Daniel Johnson. Alvarez taken away again. Harrison Delbridge, and great at that left center back position.
Yeah, really good tackle there by Delbridge. Arturo Alvarez had a little bit of time. He's going to want to do better than that. Again, he's had a little bit of a struggle here coming into this second half of the match.
Now they are whistling the foul back another 10-15 yards. Back for Hildebrand. And a lot for FC Cincinnati fans to look forward to, though. A great effort against a Major League Soccer side in the Chicago Fire. And again, this isn't the Chicago Fire team that, you know, most people would have kind of shunned as being the MLS bottom of the table scrapers. They have been a much improved club in this offseason, and we saw that with the additions of Dax McCarty and the way that they've been able to move the ball. And FC Cincinnati, again, unable to overcome OKC Energy on Sunday afternoon, but again, a very good first shift for that starting 11 for the guys wearing orange and blue.
And as those changes that we talked about, Ryan, a lot of new faces coming onto the pitch now. Pretty much everybody new in the orange and blue of FC Cincinnati to finish off the last 30 minutes of this game. So that's exactly what Alan Koch is trying to get out of his, what he thinks might be a lot of his starting 11 for this season is 60 minutes, getting that match fitness in place for the first game of the regular season.
And now we see Casey Townsend got some significant touches on Sunday afternoon as well. Also looks like Harrison Delbridge and Tyler Polak have remained on. And don't want to give up too much as far as the defenders are concerned. And now we have GB Fall up top for FC Cincinnati, who's, again, one of the more imposing bodies, very similar in body style to David Arshakian, and as far as just that tall frame, a great target man if they can get across up to him. Now pressure coming, DeLayu, Hildebrand. Dangerous first touch and back. Dan Johnson would have had an opportunity to rip a shot from distance. Instead goes out for a Fire throw. Now the throw in for Drew Connor. Able to stay with it, has some options, finds Chad Barson. Barson drops it back, looking for either Arshakian or DeLayu. Arshakian fighting with Harrison Delbridge. The cross finds the head of DeLayu, and what a diving save! Also the new keeper, I believe that's Dallas J, had a impressive run on Sunday afternoon as well, but a great cross and a great opportunity by Michael DeLayu, but Chicago Fire still only 1 goal to their name. FC Cincinnati doing a fantastic job, and the substitute keeper, Lee, you know it's often tough to just come in and make a save immediately like that. Great effort by Dallas J.
Yeah, it was. It was a mistake in the corner by the defenders of FC Cincinnati, which allowed that turnover and a good ball into the box. And Michael DeLayu with a nice contact on it. And you're absolutely right. Dallas J having to dive to his right-hand side and make a quick reaction save to keep that one from going into the back of the net. Sometimes you do want to get 1 or 2 easier touches on the ball as a keeper when you come into a game. But he shows that he was ready for that one and able to keep this one at 1-0 for the Chicago Fire.
And a jump by Stefan Cleveland, and he is able to bring that down. No problems. They are going to stop play temporarily, and a talk with the lone forward for FC Cincinnati, GB Fall. 6 foot tall, 180-pound, 31-year-old from Senegal. Looking for that deep ball again, Arshakian trying to get to his head. And just away from Chad Barson. And out for a Cincinnati throw. Back to Dallas J, and they'll reset, and that is in fact Paul Nicholson, 29-year-old out of Whitehaven, England, on that far right side.
Oh, nice to see this game, Ryan, what we haven't seen in the first few matches here at IMG Academy, which is speeding up the play a little bit on the sidelines when the ball goes into touch, as we've got some ball boys involved in this one, so it keeps the pace of the game going much faster than having the players have to go and run and try to track down the balls.
And that is Pat McMahon, who is giving chase down that far right wing and out for a Chicago Fire goal kick. Pat McMahon growing up actually just about 25 or 30 minutes away from Bridgeview, where the Chicago Fire call home, in Bolingbrook. Also, him and Patrick Duty in neighboring towns. Patrick Duty from Naperville, Illinois, one of those local products as well. In that DuPage County area, very rich with soccer. We've seen players leave from the Chicago suburbs, and our time with the Tampa Bay Rowdies, as far as Stefan Antonievich for the Rowdies last season, also a local Chicago product, and some other guys in the league. Greg Jordan, I believe, with Minnesota United, also from the same area, and also members of the women's national team. Casey Short, also a member of the Chicago Red Stars. So a big, rich club tradition in the Chicago suburbs, and represented well here today.
Yeah, I believe Michael Bradley as well, and Will Johnson, one of his best friends, although he plays for the Canadian national team. Will Johnson growing up and playing his youth soccer in Chicago, and that's how they became best of friends.
Looking for GB Fall, gets ahead to it, but no danger for Stefan Cleveland. Still a 1-0 advantage. The lone goal coming back in the first half. Again, a beautiful cross from John Goosens to find the head of Louis Solignac. That is the difference in the game right now. New 11 for Chicago Fire and new 9 or 10 for FC Cincinnati.
Yeah, and I'd really like to see this 9 or 10 for Cincinnati. You know what? Step up a little bit more here. Fresh legs. It's only a 1-goal game right now. Give it your all here. Maybe play a little bit of a higher line. Force Chicago a little more. Maybe create that turnover.
And a shot on target from JB Fall, left-footed. Maybe a little bit off balance, but finds Stefan Cleveland. And FC Cincinnati now putting the pressure and kind of on the front foot.
Yeah, and like I just said, try to get some opportunities, try to get some chances on goal, and test this keeper. Dallas J comes into the game, and he have to make a save right off the bat for the Chicago Fire.
Townsend tries to get a clever flick around Chad Barson and tries to spin instead. Fire with the throw. A nice dribble by Alvarez, looking for DeLayu, instead out for a throw.
And that's what this is going to be in preseason. You're going to see a lot of that, Ryan, as some signals getting crossed as players are going forward. They're just not used to playing with each other, and there's certain tendencies and where they're going to be on the pitch. It's going to take a little while. I don't like to use the term very much, to gel as a team, but that's exactly what it is, to be able to get used to playing with each other.
Heavy first touch by Duty, trying to get the cross through. Far post, DeLayu gets to his head, and what a save, and it's in the net for a goal. Fire in the 70th minute. Not sure who exactly is going to get credit for it. I believe it should go to number 8, Michael DeLayu.
Yeah, I believe it is DeLayu. As it's unfortunate for Dallas J as he comes across to that near post, and DeLayu on the bounce is able to get up and head that powerfully into the ground. As we have another look at it here, as it starts off on the left-hand side of the pitch, and here's the cross, and it is DeLayu, and he just powers that in. It may have taken a deflection off of Dallas J, but then as it's coming down, he's just not able to get back in time before that one crosses the line at the back post. So a good sequence of events there for the Chicago Fire, all starting by a good cross from that left-hand side to the back post, and DeLayu is right there to drive that header into the ground and really cause Dallas J some problems.
And Patrick Duty with credit for the assist in the 70th minute, so the Fire take a 2-0 advantage with just about 20 minutes to go. And now a foul against GB Fall. And a little frustration setting in, but again, even though they are down 2 goals, we have seen 2-goal leads overcome in less time than this. FC Cincinnati still with an opportunity to come back in this game, and obviously the win for either team doesn't mean a whole lot. It's just about gelling as a team and kind of finding your way before the season starts. So Cincinnati still a lot to be proud of today, and an excellent effort now looking for that deep ball. Header back, GB Fall takes one bounce, and just before he gets a little bit of a volley, and now a yellow card probably, and it is issued. And Drew Connor not happy about that call at all.
Yeah, I think, and Connor's down because of what he took. I think that GB Fall was just lining up, and as he was about to take the strike, as his leg came back, that's where the contact was made. So I don't think there was really a foul there, but GB Fall did fall. He goes down, and Silvio Pestrescu sees that one differently and gives him this free kick in a dangerous area, as Cincinnati would love nothing but to be able to put one on the board and get back into this match.
And Kenny Walker standing over the ball, 72nd minute. This may tick over into the 73rd, depending on who in fact is going to take the strike. 2 guys standing over the ball. And it looks to be Kenny Walker tries to chip it up, and just wide. No problem for Stefan Cleveland. Had an opportunity to sneak it up and over the wall, instead out for the goal kick.
Yeah, he had a perfect opportunity there just to go for goal. And when you're in those areas, you really want to try to make the keeper do something, but he saw that little bit of space and thought that he could sneak that over the ball and get it in at near post. But it goes just wide of the goal.
Now headed back, and Dallas J will come off his line.
Well, we talk about preseason not necessarily mattering as a score line, but it will do some good, especially because of the season Chicago had last year. To right now to go to 5-0 in preseason, then going up against a team that went to MLS Cup final on Saturday against Toronto FC. That's a big confidence builder going into this one.
And now Mihailovic. And also Daniel Johnson. And guys fighting for some minutes on the first team, and that is going to be almost certainly a yellow card. And it is shown, I believe that awaiting the official number there as we lost the players back. I think it might have been Patrick Duty. Now another free kick opportunity for FC Cincinnati as we approach the final 15. Into the box, Cleveland gets a hand to it, and now Delbridge lines up a volley, and that one deflected and just out. Again, Delbridge very good with the ball at his feet, and an opportunity to volley there. Hits the ball about hip level, just too far under. It sends it over the bar.
Yeah, he had to get rid of that in a hurry, too, because he had Chicago closing him down. He would have liked to have just let that one come down for maybe another fraction of a second to get it more in line with them. But by that time, Chicago would have either been able to block it or go right through it and go the other way on the counterattack. So unfortunately for him, he just had to let that go too early, gets underneath that and sails it too high.
Shakian, frustrated with the center official, had the takeaway and then went down. Now going the other way is Drew Connor. Now Shakian a couple of options. As Arturo Alvarez, dangerous from the right side as he is shoved off the ball, no whistle. Casey Townsend. Pressure coming, and back for Corbin Bone. Up for GB Fall. Now wide for Townsend, and they are going to say he is offside, did not check up. Tried to get back, but when GB Fall sent the pass forward, Casey Townsend had to recover. Be a free kick for Chicago.
Yeah, and that's too bad for Townsend, too, because GB Fall had the ball right in the middle of the park there, and there was a lot of red jerseys. They all got crammed in there, and that just opened up so much space for FC Cincinnati. Unfortunate that Townsend couldn't time his run a little bit better, because then they would have had a great opportunity to be able to whip that one back into the box and have an opportunity for the return. But just a hair offside. I often find it difficult how someone all the way across the field can make that call and put the flag up. I often think there should be line judges on each side of the pitch covering the entire pitch, not just half of it, because it's so difficult to see something that's 50 yards, 60 yards away.
Substitution coming for FC Cincinnati. And it looks like that will be the end of Harrison Delbridge's day. Just the one shot for him. Subbing on for him will be, looks like it is Austin Berry. Again, we did call his number a few times in the first half, so it looks like he may have subbed off just to get a little breather and then come back on. Cincinnati now looking for some room to create. Up in the broadcast booth, we can tell that with the cloud cover, the temperature dropping probably a good 5 to 10 degrees, so some of the players might appreciate that. Some of them might have enjoyed the sun. Now Marco Dominguez for FC Cincinnati. Up forward for Aaron Walker. Takeaway by Alvarez. Fighting for it is Drew Connor. Has to be careful when someone decides to maybe foul him. Anything retaliatory may get him a second yellow card. Cleveland sends it back towards midfield. And Mihailovic. Nice ball looking for DeLayu. Just a little too heavy on the pass, but a nice effort by the 18-year-old. Arshakian giving pressure, shaken off the ball by Paul Nicholson. Cincinnati looking for Casey Townsend, was onside, but off target is the pass. It will be a throw-in for Chicago. Now the deep throw looking for Arshakian. DeLayu giving pressure, chasing down Pat McMahon. And Andy Craven. Fire starting to press high and then back off and try and force some of those bad passes. Now they resort back to midfield, and he is onside. Aaron Walker into the corner, but again, too heavy on the effort, out for a throw.
Yeah, just a little too heavy there on the over ball, but that's exactly what FC Cincinnati is going to have to do. That's a good idea with that high line and really clogging things up through the midfield. That sometimes that's what you have to do, is just play a little bit more direct and get that ball over the top and have your wingers in full pace and running up that sideline and just trying to get on the end of it. But unfortunately, that one was just a little too heavy.
Just a brief stoppage. Looks like the Fire and Cincinnati's Aaron Walker got their cleats tangled up a little bit. So a quick breather, GB Fall. And back for Kenny Walker. That just goes out past touch, or they'll say offside is the whistle. So a throw-in, and that'll be Dakovic. Risky with GB Fall and Cleveland off the ball, and now you see the pressure coming from Cincinnati. Walker gets to it, and now Craven trying to find GB Fall up top, and again Craven still with the ball. Up through towards the top of the 18-yard box. Fire able to control and repossess. Now looking for Arshakian.
Yeah, that was a good recovery by Dakovic after that pressure from three Cincinnati forwards coming in and creating that turnover, and he slid right in there. A bit of a dangerous tackle, but he was able to get all the ball to be able to get possession back for the Chicago Fire.
Now bouncing back for Cleveland. GB Fall in the foot race and loses out to Joe Almeida. One of the Portuguese internationals that play for Chicago. Now Mihailovic. Up through Dan Johnson. Some nice dribbling to keep it away from that Cincinnati midfield. Arturo Alvarez, nice little give and go. Drew Connor has an opportunity up at the top of the 18-yard box before finally being booted away. Final 8 minutes or so as we approach the 83rd minute of play. 2-0 Chicago with the advantage. Mihailovic. That's off the foot of Arturo Alvarez. It'll be a throw-in. Casey Townsend quickly back in play for FC Cincinnati. And GB Fall finds space and just behind Townsend. It will stay with FC Cincinnati. Fire player got a touch to it. Aaron Walker drops back for Nicholson, just inside the midfield circle. Out wide, pressure coming. That is number 19, Daniel Johnson. Again, you can see the youngsters trying to show off and make an effort, and a nice takeaway again by the Chicago Fire youngsters. Booted forward for Corbin Bone. Bone back for Townsend. GB Fall onside in the 18-yard box, looking for Craven, who can't track it through the air, and cleared back away by Chicago.
Yeah, a little bit of a floater there from Townsend. He needs to get some more on that ball, whip that in there, and so GB Fall can get on the end of it and get some power on it. If he's going to be standing still because of the way that's floated in, that would be anything that Cleveland could handle, no problem.
Now Mihailovic. Pressure coming, tries to skip through a few Cincinnati players. They are able to regain possession. And now the takeaway. Off to the races. Arshakian has a couple of options. Tripped up and the jersey tugged. I would imagine that that would be a yellow card automatically. And it will be. We'll take a look at the foul again.
Yeah, that was just a lazy play, to be honest with you, Ryan. In that sort of position, I guess if you're beat, you're beat. But you don't want to give up a free kick in this area for the Chicago Fire, as you're only 20 yards away from goal. A real opportunity here to go straight at goal, as you see Dallas J now lining up the wall. And again, they got it to be, yeah, you can see Silvio Petrescu marking them back the full 10 paces, so they're quite a ways into this box.
And it looks like it will be Arturo Alvarez, as well as, I believe that might be,
I think it's Georgie. Am I right? No, maybe not.
take a look. Alvarez lines up the shot. It looked like it deflected off the wall and out for a corner kick.
Yeah, I think that was Mihailovic with Arturo Alvarez there. Yes, it was, as he finally turns to see the number 23.
Preseason for the broadcasters, too. Always nice to have an opportunity to do these games as we're getting ready for our seasons, and you'll see the corner kick. There's the in-swinger, someone taken down in the box, but foul whistled against Cincinnati. Or against Chicago, it'll be a Cincinnati free kick. Final 5 minutes of play. Might have, I would anticipate, a minute or two of added time in the second half, mostly because of that massive Cincinnati substitution.
A respectable result so far, I think, though, for Cincinnati. Ryan, Chicago always going to be favored to win this one, and really in the first 25 minutes of this match, Cincinnati did have the upper hand in this one. Unfortunate to get called on the offside, which appeared to be a good goal in my mind. There was no interference that I could see as far as somebody being in an offside position, which could have had this game right now at 2-1.
Now back to Corbin Bone. Casey Townsend across the face of goal and booted out for a corner kick by Patrick Duty, but a nice little run and some good passes by FC Cincinnati in these final moments. Kenny Walker lining up from that far side corner with the outswinger. Chance to get one goal back. It's low and headed away. Kept in by Bone. Scout Walker looking for either Craven or Corbin Bone. Bone with the opportunity, and now Craven tries to sneak one through. Instead, it's booted back out safely by Dekovic.
Good job there by getting the ball outside for FC Cincinnati and a ball back in, but unfortunate for Andy Craven that he kind of scuffed on that one.
And GB Fall after the cross gets a goal, sneaks it over Cleveland, comes off the line. FC Cincinnati gets one back in the 88th minute.
That's exactly what they were looking for. They were persistent, and Cleveland comes out of his goal, and he just did not have an opportunity in that one. He probably should have stayed back, but he took the chance to come out and try to punch us away. But in the end, it's GB Fall that gets on the end of it. You see him going up there. Yeah, Cleveland should never have come out of his goal there, as GB Fall did have somebody covering him enough that if he just stays on his line, that is an easy catch. But Cleveland coming out, getting caught in no man's land, and GB Fall is able to get Cincinnati within one here late.
I believe that was number 8, Paul Nicholson, with the deep cross, and again, Cleveland just with a little mental miscommunication and coming off. And GB Fall, one of those players standing at 6 foot tall, if he goes up for a 50-50 ball, a lot of these younger players on the Fire in that back line not able to overcome that 6 foot tall jump. And again, a beautiful cross set up, a nice easy header, and Cincinnati now back within one. 89th minute of play. Alvarez with the cross towards the box. Misses a few opportunity, and now the kick sneaks through, and the Fire get it back in the 89th, and it is Dejkovic.
Well, another set-piece goal as that one goes to the far post, and it's just bad marking by FC Cincinnati as Dejkovic is wide open. He didn't really even get much on that one, Ryan, as we take another look, as we see this one going back over everyone. It's tapped back to Dejkovic and nobody picking him up. And he, like I said, didn't get all of it, but just taps that with his left foot. It gets enough on it to get past Dallas J, and the 2-goal lead is back again for the Chicago Fire.
And I believe that was DeLeu who had that opportunity to try and maybe put it up towards the near post, and instead had that drop back for Dejkovic, and it was a beautiful effort. And another foul against the Chicago Fire from about 25 yards out, and an opportunity at a free kick for Cincinnati to climb back within one. Time running out, though. Looks like GB Fall and Corbin Bone standing over. They almost certainly have to try to put this one on target. Kenny Walker also tries to sneak that one over the wall, and he buries it. Kenny Walker in the 90th minute, just as we tick to the end of regulation, brings it back 3-2 the score. FC Cincy now back within one again.
Incredible last 5 minutes of this match. Ryan, let's have a look at this one. And Walker just absolutely gets all of this one. Not a chance for Cleveland. He probably wanted to be over a foot more to his right to have a chance at diving. He thought he had that covered, but a beautiful free kick from FC Cincinnati, and we're at 3-2 in stoppage time.
After a 1-0 game for the majority, and now a foul whistled in favor of Chicago, and very similar to how FC Cincy had last year against their MLS opponent, NYCFC, able to score 2 goals in just a few minutes. But as the center official blows his whistle, that is how it will end. But an exciting 90 for both Chicago Fire and FC Cincinnati. Their final score 3-2 after a very exciting second half, and especially the last 5 or so minutes.
Yeah, it was, and to see all those goals late really shows how things can open up and how a goal can change the complexion of a game, and that's exactly what happened. And I'm impressed by both sides being able to react after goals being scored. Certainly Chicago right after it was 2-1, and Cincinnati just didn't show that they were going to give up. They were going to keep pushing forward, and a beautiful free kick by Walker to be able to get that within 1 goal. And who knows, if that first one wasn't called offside, I think a 3-3 result would have been fair for sure for both of these sides out there. So a good preseason game, good warm-up, and good all around from both teams as they prepare for the regular season.
And now the Chicago Fire again continue their success, and they will bring that to Al Lang Stadium in St. Petersburg 3 o'clock, you'll hear a familiar voice on that one. Lee, you'll be doing the color for that match against Toronto FC as well. There will be a triple header there. But also tomorrow night, be sure to tune back at 6 p.m. here at the IMG Academy Field Stadium. Ottawa Fury taking on OKC Energy. And then Saturday night here at the stadium at 4 o'clock, FC Cincinnati again will take on the Ottawa Fury before, Lee, our final match on Tuesday morning, OKC Energy taking on Orlando City B. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast. If you're a Fire fan or a Cincy fan, we know you enjoyed the game. Again, for everyone at Stream Sports, want to thank IMG Academy, Under Armour, and Modus, as well as Gatorade for presenting the 2017 Suncoast Pro Classic. And for everyone at Stream Sports and my broadcast partner Lee Godfrey, I am Ryan Sudol saying so long from Bradenton.